But if that will keep its grip in there, since not exhausted from without, a light dissolves to rip and shine again was all I am, plating the air humans exhale in that window I flex in dark. To take the point, not ready yet, to give you back, but adamant by idiotic mantras to earn the reason for love's apparent deterrence. So long after you, my blood races, I can't pull out. You that will not come back, led in there to have the life you get too close, to be the slanting bed too far away, to make you up or lose you in, go under me and stare at the same thing apart. Our glaring end annuls in light what fire on the faded past remains, whose shadow cannot last. As you burn away in bright and widespread too ecstatic loss, everywhere bends the eye back on the slow infinity that blocks the love it fits across. Just as rehoused at random, love itself puts up its opposites, cut down to make the point it is not wasted in the end to prove. But in Mexico, the problem has another dimension. Owing to the drug cartels and the human cost of their iconicity, much of it dialectical and in women, there they throw sackfuls of decapitated heads all over the disco floor. Just skidding on it like a male child is naive, but kicking them around is, if anything, worse. At that point, everything is deeply interfused. Even the congealed, invisible, virtual, abstract, spectral, projected, white blood cells rushing barely at trace levels to the head of the slowest nail ever hammered in ichkyria into a pineapple, a wrist, silence, or into the base of the hammer itself, a pat plastic simile for a slapdash splintering spine. Thinking, cheap as dirt and free as verse, Prometheus was a misogynist. Its testimony is the unbearable faintness of its odour in your heart, this blood that is beginning everywhere. But the present catastrophe, lines 485 to 486, rebounds Felix Gallardo as the primary object, locked up ladder to elite sublimities, so that, strutting in golden ringlets streaked with ashen highlights on the sexual proscenium at the boundary of significance, we may know him. His too hot crotch in knots of living weasel gut, whispering only just to love. If it's not interesting to read, then what's the point in doing it, or living as though you have to, defined by an obligation with no fulfillment, lapsing to prognosis of a soap aisle? I start my investigation here, taking my life in my hand. Life rises to greet me, boasting its ardency in the carotid. 1 from 2. Dusters wrapped in itching flame, streaked in limbic cloud, in itching six blue sky on the setting water, nod tilt, made too still, remade in onward chains, T, looking out the plane window at the feather grass and spiders. The 3, P bears a triangle dunked in the oil prism, ahead left. Who knows if what I'm thinking is that or worse? Dispersing this riot and smoke like love in conscience, the use value of a thing does not concern its seller as such, but only its buyer, in which case, use values are exclusive to consumers, like us, and consumers like us are in that case the blinky, pinky, inky and Clyde of the way of despair squared, so that as our art is increasingly sold, and as love is, and there are many more sellers, many of them are good sellers, its use value, as what the Nigerians call a supernumerary proportion of its total combined value, including its exchange, goes into improbable dramatic decline, like Chekhov. We feel this as consumers. We feel it, not as one, readying ourselves not to, and are forever almost ready, staring at the alien in the 1,000 eyes it blinks, making up for consciousness with all the shit it thinks. Move your arms around, doing work. Click to the melody under your nails. Nothing changes this into a specimen of forever. Very quickly, but quiet, as impatience spreads down the shoulder into the thin end of the teeth, the wind will brush the edge like water cracked apart. Exposure for exhibitionist brains, plated with very heaven. AWM 6140/3 allegations. Water on the genitals. Sisters in photographs. Belt tightening. Electric dreams. Speak in starts distractedly. This game has no ending. As long as the player keeps at least one life, he or she should be able to continue playing indefinitely. But this is rendered impossible by a bug. You task Medea Shenshell with cooking your breakfast, hawk eggs in fried milk, high in polycollaterals. Then, with finishing your breakfast. Then, making your breakfast again, but a dot, automatically spitting shells out. You prefer the boxes to the toys, Deborah's photograph of herself crammed into her college wardrobe ad infinitum, the hair on 1,000 mothers, infinity ad nauseum. The internal level counter is stored in a single byte, and when it reaches 255, the subroutine causes this value to roll over to 0 before drawing the fruit. This causes the routine to draw 256 fruits, or wish to, which corrupts the bottom half of the screen and the whole right half of the maze with seemingly random symbols, making it unwinnable. But reality is not at the bottom of this abyss. The abyss is in time just reality being itself, at least to begin with, and at the same time conclusively, as if contracted soft to a single point, a dot, at the end of the universe, when dark matter is a distant memory, subject for our chastisement to the fluctuations of military nostalgia in her foot. And I am not sure to go on, or how to, or even what name that is anymore. Whoever you are, I do this for. Person, this. Human, this window, this crack, or even if I do it, and probably I don't. The strings on 1,000 dolls. Relief at Abu Naji, I cite its adaptation on Bliss in Memory. Retread via Danny Boy to the Drool Igloo. Pseudo TL61P atoms use disqualified for living. Cleared, the fruits and intermissions would restart. Anemia fade. This the possibility. This the price of bread in 1792. This Mariana asleep in a beansprout bound in spattered marble, staring at the skin next to your eye. That free of that universe, mimetic of a smudged cherry traherne. Love is deeper than at first it can be thought, and the extra will last you past care to a better joke about you drilled through to infiltrate the gothic froth of Hellmount. 1.3. But really to believe that necessity is exhausted, if it comes, making haste to apologise for its premature infantilism by a great clumsy show of increase in salivation flow, once best left alone, not otherwise, by going on longer, the point itself will still be around, is a joke, embryo smut in the possible taste, since once you get from A to B, take your time returning. Isn't it the problem that I want you to stare at me until our eyes trade sockets, trailing visions, fucking our mutual brains out all over the wrongest floor, not the implication that pudding was banned in 1972 that asks for an adaptation on Bliss in Memory, light sockets, the halo pinned to bodies in remorse, devoured in a shadow life sends back. Remember this, I sort through the boxes. My first poems are there. The drawings I made at school are, and my toys are, lead prodigies and barbarians, paints for them, tapes of my rock band, some vinyl of Tchaikovsky and Bach, the present photographs of my first sexual lover, whose face is staring with intent euphoria and deepening tenderness at the face I was, the eyes I shone in then. The light in them blinds me now to nothing less than under your caress I can do still, and do still, even right now, or very soon do when I climb into bed with you and let my arms shrink into your waking head, or sleeping, however you are in there, that room of objects and that room of you. 2. Construction may routinely be upgraded into life, as Orphic vanity spreads backwards its only motive for our present obscurity. But deafness has an adverse impact on interrogation. Smiling at the lips in oil for food is fast by proxy to an epic patronage. I want, take, scream, stick. You try to replenish these sounds that you hear in your head, regimental amnesia. I saw all the other members of the multiple emulate me, unfold into an illicit epigram. I now laterally hyperventilate one line with a joke line at the end, backing inspiration, breathing our parade of children and dill. Ties it together, asks the retracting, acting like ears, downed in void, a fur of fire on, lick me, you on this line when you don't expect it, when you do this line. It has a rim enough to remand your first genitals. The rim is rectangular as any surat. To forever ruin the way you wait, I'll be here forever. A winding sheet of shining eyes, slammed to annihilation. 3. Nothing we did could get him to open the door. The roof was coming down. He's driving us somewhere, but where? The light fixed like a door, kicked in the head on a shoestring, writes to do its worst and make the best of you. At the back to be alone, so that in the wet graphics, spraying out the spoils of the grave, a dead friend in shreds gladly climbs, and with growling stomach and powdered flower roots to snort in dust, steps on this podium of odium to trill this elegy. I have a dream of every man I ate in all my life, and after that refreshment no zombie can pick his teeth, but better learn to live with what he's got and what he's not, and make both tolerances perfectible. There's no way in as you defer to that, this way back from rejecting it to see. Repeat yourself after me. Repeat it. Yourself after me. Repeat yourself at me. I am at, alone in all the world, a mirror, forfeit to beauty. The love I am is anything, what I live for, skin and looking at you dead now, but like it your breath, still sharp at the flesh of desiring we ran out from, liquid across the floor, they tore down years ago. Live in your hand, my face, a stick of empty fingertips. The code TL61P belongs to a hot point dryer. You'll find out nothing if you look it up through the sky in the screen, the vault of exchangeable passion, vertigo at the horizon prostrate as an outstretched cheek. But in the mouth that grows, in capacity behind that overflow, nobody can take away the word for it. Love, the provisional end until death. TL61P, its unconditional, perfected shadow opposite. Now go back to the start. Thanks.